Yes, everybody, welcome back to 5. My name is Stephen Howson, and today I'm going to be taking you through 5 teams that we need to be watching out for in this year's Euros. In at number 1 then is France, and no surprises for a lot of people to see France on this list. I think if France entered a second team, that team would probably be expected to reach the semi-finals as well. So I expect this France team to be somewhere in and around the semis at the very, very least, if not in the final, if not winning the whole thing. I think they've got a wonderfully talented squad. I think the players that haven't even made the squad would probably be stars for some of the other teams, even some of the teams that you're going to expect to reach the knockout stages. France's record in qualifying them was 10 games, 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 25-4 and only 6 conceded. Top scorer in qualifying was Olivier Giroud. The player to watch is, of course, Kylian Mbappe. After he set the world alight in the 2018 World Cup, I think it's all eyes on Mbappe. He's the second youngest goal scorer in a World Cup final behind Pele. You might have heard of him. He was all right, I've heard. He was really good in Escape to Victory. And it'll be an understatement to suggest that a lot is expected from Mbappe, I think, in this tournament. I think all of the French hope relies on him. But to me, I think actually the French hope should rely on its midfield. The likes of Kante, the likes of Pogba, and some of the names that haven't even gone would be stars for other teams at this World Cup. What French teams have maybe lacked in the past sometimes is that little bit of an X factor. The fact that they've recalled Karim Benzema, the streets are behind France. I think Karim Benzema to go to the Euros for France is massive, and I think it underlines the quality that they've got all over the place, that there was a chance that he could have been left out of this squad, but he is in the squad. He is going to be playing with Mbappe. He is going to be playing with Kante and Pogba, and oh my God, the rest of this team is terrifying. They're going to be ones to watch for sure. Next up, we've got Belgium. Belgium had a flawless record in qualifying. They had 10 games and they had 10 wins, and they scored 40 goals and only conceded 3. My days. Now, Belgium have also got a star-studded squad with talent and quality running right the way through it. Star man for them, Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard. Actually, it's probably Romelu Lukaku, their country's top goal scorer of all time. He had a great domestic season where he went on and smashed Ronaldo's record at Inter Milan, which is frightening. This is a team that's built around playing to the strengths of Romelu Lukaku, and I think if they continue to do that, I'd probably put them just below France in terms of overall quality of the squad, but they're certainly a team that I think you're going to be looking to expect to reach the semi-final, if not final stage. Third team to be watching then is Portugal. Portugal come into this tournament as reigning champions, and they won it in a fashion that's going to look alien to the team that lines up in the Euros this time around. Last time it was all about being a hard-working team that got the very best out of Cristiano Ronaldo up front. This time around, Ronaldo's one of several stars. You can expect Bruno Fernandes to be in the mix. You can expect Ruben Diaz to be getting some headlines of the season he's just had with Manchester City. This Portugal side is one of the most talented sides that they've had coming into a competition for many a year. And also coming in on the back of being reigning champions could give them a lot of confidence coming into this competition. Player to watch for Portugal? It's Ronaldo. Now, Ronaldo is already a European Championships legend. He's made the most appearances with 21, and he needs one more goal to be the outright scorer. He currently shares that with Michel Platini, who scored 9 in one championship, and he's already scored in the most matches with 7. He's Portugal's most capped player ever, and is their all-time scorer. And even though he's 36, I think he's going to be looking to scratch this itch at Euro 2020. He's never, check this out, he's never topped a World Cup or a Euros as top goal scorer. Is that something he can do this time around? I certainly think he's going to be trying to do that. Now, despite only just about qualifying for the Champions League with Juventus, it was another strong season for Ronaldo. Despite some of the critics that he was getting, he won the Serie A Golden Boot with 29 goals. He was the first ever player to top the scoring charts in all 3 of La Liga, Serie A and the Premier League, which is incredible. He also became the first man in Juventus history to score 100 competitive goals in just 3 seasons. And I think the next target for this phenomenal player, for this phenomenal, just generational talent that we've seen in Cristiano Ronaldo, has to be Ali Dyer's record of 109 international goals. Where's Ronaldo at? He's on 103. 7 goals would see him probably top the tournament and also break the international record. And with Portugal having such a hell of a strong team behind him, maybe he could do it. Next up, the team to watch is Italy, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on Italy, but much like Belgium, they had an absolutely flawless record in qualifying where they went 10 games, 10 wins, 37 for and only 4 against. It's still incredible numbers. Top scorer for them in qualifying is Andrea Bellotti, and I think they're coming into this as mega dark horses. They've not been heralded as much as some of the other teams that we mentioned in this list, and certainly this is a below par Italian side, usually coming into competitions extremely strong. But they've started to put together a hell of a run. They're in a 25-game unbeaten run at the moment, and they head into Euro 2020. These warm-up matches that they're having aside, in incredible form. Not only are they winning, they also won the last 7 games without conceding a single goal. Italy could be back. I think everyone's just sleeping on how good they are. Player to watch, I think it's Manuel Locatelli, now a player that's been linked with a move all over the Premier League and across the rest of Europe. But he's one of the most promising young midfielders in the world, and a good showing at Euro 2020 could seal one of those transfers to an absolute mega club or propel him into fully international stardom. And he's thrived as a conductor in a really eye-catching Sassuolo team, leading the way in Serie A for passes this season. In fact, only 5 players across the whole of Europe's top 5 leagues bettered Locatelli's 2,749 passes in 2021. This is a guy that is just putting up numbers. And think about some of the absolutely dominant possession-based teams. He's doing more than all bar 5 of those in Sassuolo of all the teams. Locatelli's also played nearly 300 more passes into the opposition half than the next closest contender in Serie A, whilst 446 of his passes have progressed the ball into the final third, which is another league high. And he also is favourably against the rest of Serie A's other leading midfields when it comes to carrying the ball. The bottom line is Locatelli is a hell of a player, and he could be that sort of Andrea Pirlo sort of replacement in the centre of this Italian midfield that everyone is crying out for it to be, and no one's realised it because he's right under their noses. Perhaps an international tournament playing against the best of the rest of the world is the opportunity that this kid that's just playing his trade at Sassuolo quietly needs to break into the next level. And if he plays well, Italy could play well, and before you know it, you're going to see Italy in and around. I would think they're going to be in and around the quarter stage, but they could even reach the semi-final stage. And finally, then, the team for everybody to watch is Germany. Now, Joachim Löw has been at the helm for 15 years, and he's never failed to reach Germany to the semi-final of a Euros. And it's probably not as heralded as the German team that maybe won the World Cup several years ago. He's probably not as heralded as some of the other German teams that people had a lot of great hope for, but this is still a German team that you've got to take seriously. Leading scorer in qualification was Serge Gnabry with 8. They had a record of 8 games, 7 wins and only 1 loss in qualifying. And they come into the tournament ranked outside the top 10 for FIFA. It just doesn't sit right with me. I think this is a proper dark horse. Also, potentially the best kit that's going to be at the tournament. German pedigree when it comes to international tournaments cannot be questioned. And I don't think that this German team needs writing off. I think this German team comes in certainly stronger than England. I think England's got a couple of star players that can maybe make something happen on the day. But this is a German team that's going to be working together and working hard together. Player to watch? People sleep on this guy all the time. Thomas Muller. Thomas Muller is a hell of a footballer, has got so much experience. He's literally won everything that there is to win. And I think this is a competition with him for a bit of a point to prove. He had a bit of a disastrous 2018 World Cup, certainly one for him to forget. I think Muller's form has forced Joachim Löw to include him in this squad, possibly against his judgment and maybe against his wishes that he probably didn't want to take him. That's how good Muller's been this season, and I think the season that Muller's had, I think could translate into the Euros quite comfortably, and I think he is the talisman for this team. He's going to still want to prove he can cut it at international level for me, and his creativity could be massive for Germany as they're going to smoke the group. They're going to come out of the group the other stage, and then you're going to find out what they're truly about. And in the big games on a big stage, for me, Thomas Muller generally tends to deliver. He had a massive role in Bayern Munich's 9th consecutive championship this year in the Bundesliga, and he was the only player with double figures of goals and assists with 11 goals and 18 assists. No other player was involved in as many open play sequences ending with a shot as Muller with 186, and 14 of those being the final pass before a goal. Do not sleep on the Germans in a major international tournament because you'll end up with egg on your face. Let me know in the comments. That's the 5 teams that I think we need to watch. Do you think anyone else is in the mixer? Would you have put England in the mixer? Let Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.